One of the most impressive things for me when it comes to legendary creatures in Magic the Gathering is when Wizards of the Coast managed to make the card on its own so impressive that you don't even need the surrounding lore to think it's a cool card. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. Today is the day that I'm getting dental work done. However, I managed to wake up a little bit early, and that has given me a tiny little bit of time to squeeze a video in for today. Now, we're going to depart from the normal style of doing videos when it comes to these Commander Legends cards, because what I have been doing so far is taking a card that exists and pulling some cards from Magic's history that connect to that. Now, we're not going to do that today. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a legend that definitely has a backstory that a ton of people don't know. So this is a character who has a story that reaches all the way back to the time of Moxes and Lotus and all that goodness. And I'm telling you now, I will do a video covering the lore on the character over on my Fantasy Geographic channel, so you will get the full story. But I wanted to do this kind of in a bubble analysis for a couple of reasons. One being I genuinely don't have the time today to do a full video treatment. And another is that when I first saw this card, my brain didn't click and go, this is actually a character from Magic's history. When I saw it, my brain went, oh, cool. They've just created an heir concept, and this is a really neat idea as a card. I like cards that all on their own tell you a story without you needing to know anything about the backdrop of the game. Like, for example, the single card that actually got me into Magic the Gathering was Personal Incarnation. Now, if I have the time, I'll edit it into the video if you don't get to see it on the screen. Essentially, there is a wizard standing up on a cliff top, and there is he's creating a being out of his own force of will, his own magical power. And that giant being is just smashing through soldiers. And it's like, there's a whole story in that card all by itself. And I really dig that. So the card we're going to talk about today is Jared Carthalion, True Heir. And like I said, we're throwing aside the character's history for this video and just examining this as if it was a concept created brand new for a character who doesn't exist, okay? So, he's 1 red, 1 green, 1 white for a 3/3 legendary human warrior. When he enters the battlefield, this is interesting. When he enters the battlefield, target opponent becomes the monarch. You can't become the monarch this turn. And monarch is a mechanic that was brought in during Conspiracy. Obviously, the idea behind the monarchy is you're the king and you gain a result. Since you're the king, you get extra power, but people can take the throne from you. So the monarchy kind of struggle is an interesting concept, and they have a whole cycle of cards in the Commander Legends set that play off of the monarchy idea, but I have to admit, this is my favorite. So when he shows up, you have to make one of your opponents the monarch, and you can't become the monarch. And if damage would be dealt to him while you're the monarch, prevent that damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on it. And the flavor text says, I'm here for what's mine. And it's like, oh yes! The artwork shows him just looking so impressive. Dude, this honestly feels like the cover of an 80s or 90s fantasy novel. You know what I mean? Like the old school book. Back in the day when I was reading Dragonlance and stuff like this, this artwork on a book cover would make me go, whoa. He's just got this impressive pose, right? And the light is shining behind him in a way that it makes him feel chosen. Like he's in this dark environment, right? It's gloomy in the background. You got the darkened tree with the leaves and everything around it. And he's just standing there with this light emanating behind him. And in front, he's got this crazy epic magic sword with different colors of magical energy flowing off of it. And I have to admit, I really enjoy the fact that the magical energies that are flowing off the blade actually match his colors, all right? So you can see it starts with a little bit of white and then it switches into red and goes off into green. But it's also looks like it's licking along this black blade, but it only looks black because of the magic. If you look down near the hilt, you can see that this is essentially normal steel, but the magic flowing around it changes the nature of the blade, and I love that. It makes me think of a fantasy story where there are blades forged of this particular kind of mystic metal, or even just like a highly perfected steel that's then infused with magic by crazy wizards or whatever. It's just this kind of metal that everybody wants it because it never loses the sharpness of the blade, right? It can cut through anything. But when somebody who is truly pure of heart and has been chosen by the gods and is full of destiny and magic, then they can draw the full power out of the blade, showing that they're the chosen one, kind of like a King Arthur style scenario, right? This entire card encapsulates one of my favorite styles of tropes, the whole the worthy chosen, right? Jared Carthalion is the true heir to his throne. And the flavor execution of this is amazing. To be the true heir, you have to you can obviously just have a normal succession, but that's not an interesting story. A king handing something down to his son isn't nearly as compelling as a kingdom being wrested from a king, just pulled away, taken by force. And then the child of that king, whether the king's exiled or his life is ended, whatever it is, that kid is forced off into his own exile to go on a journey to discover himself and his power and to reclaim his throne. But at that point, unlike the situation where the king's handed the throne down, you feel like this individual has earned it because you've gone on the journey with them. It's that farm boy to king, you've actually been kept on this farm because you're the son of this great ruler and we've been waiting for you to come of age so you can go on a quest to retake the kingdom. Dude, that is awesome, awesome flavor. So the mechanic of choosing an opponent to become the monarch, they represent the ones who are taking your family, your bloodline's right away from you, and it's theirs. And you can't become the monarch right away. You have to go on a journey to become the monarch. That's why you can't become the monarch the first turn, it's so cool. The idea of an ordained person who's supposed to be the king, right? This is who everything will be right in the universe if this individual is the king. I don't know if you guys ever saw that TV show Kings. I think it only got one season, but it was a pretty cool concept. In that world, it was like a regular day Earth, except that royalty, the kings, at least the King of England, was specifically chosen by the gods, right? They basically whoever's chosen by the gods ends up having a crown of butterflies. The butterflies swirl around them and then land on their head, creating a living crown. And it is a visually stunning way to show that you're chosen by the gods. And in that show, actually, one of the main drama points is the fact that the old king was chosen by the gods. And he doesn't want to let this new king take his place, and he's unsure about him. And then he actually sees the new king selected with the crown of butterflies, but he's not willing to relinquish his post. That's such a cool concept. The rightful chosen heir, earning what is theirs. Dude, the flavor behind that is absolutely amazing. And I love the fact that once you become the monarch, he can't take damage, because if damage will be dealt to him while you're the monarch, not only does he not take damage, he gets that many +1/+1 counters. Essentially, he gets a vigor-esque effect on him, right? Which, again, just adds into that, I have been chosen by the gods. This is my rightful throne. So, everything about this card is right. Even the casting cost feels right. You've got white, which can be the symbol for the royalty, the law and order, ruling over people in a just, or in some ways unjust manner. But in this case, in a just manner, that's the rulership, law and order aspect of it. But at the same time, you're acknowledging that the monarchy is in control, right? But you're trying to overthrow it, even though, it's technically it's mine by right, but at the same time, a new legal order gets established. So trying to overthrow that and not keep the kingdom just calm and let things, okay, you know what, the overall, the people will be fine under the rule of that king or whatever it is, I'm just going to leave it be. That whole no, I'm going to take back what is mine. This is my family's birthright. That's chaos energy. That's passion. That's consequences be damned sort of mentality, right? And so that is red. And the green to me ties into the chosen aspect, where it's he's been chosen by the gods to the point where he's also in tune with nature. Or you could just take that to be like he's lived out in the woods and dealt with whatever else to tie into that. Now remember, I'm doing this from the perspective of treating him like he's in a vacuum and doesn't have his own magical lore. We will get into that. So if you feel like the casting cost fits in a different way or doesn't fit because you know the flavor behind the character, I understand. But I wanted to try something a little bit different with this guy in the time crunch that I am under. So at this point, I've summed up really everything about the card. It's an absolute home run. I love Beefcake McSorty on the artwork. I love the idea of a destined king who's supposed to retake his throne. I love the simplicity of the flavor text. Like, he's just standing there like, what, just so rugged and ready to go. And it's like, I'm here for what's mine. It's so simple, but at the same time, so elegant. Anyhow, let me know your thoughts, my friends. I really do have to get going. I got to run off to that dentist appointment, and I didn't think I'd be able to make a video afterwards, but I really don't like leaving you guys without a video, and I love talking about all this stuff. So let me know if you like this idea, you know, without the history of the card and going off in a different direction. Either way, hope you enjoyed it, my friends. If you are enjoying what I'm doing here, like, comment, subscribe. It's all great for the channel. You want to help the channel grow, share the video around. That's also a fantastic thing to do. If you love what I'm doing, jump on my Patreon. That really helps the channel. And other than that, thanks for coming by, my friends. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow if the dental work has not laid me too low. Goodbye for now.